and I'm sure folks will be joining us. Welcome to the April Apps and Ops Learning on Cloud Lunchtime Learning for the Instructional Technology Management Program here at LaSalle University. Our program is all about learning, helping people learn how to use technology to help people learn. So if you're interested in this as a career and you want some more information, you can contact us. This program focuses on adult learning. It focuses on corporate, institutional, organizational learning as opposed to higher ed or K-12 learning, although there is some spillover, I guess, into higher ed for adults. Instructional design is instructional design is instructional design. It's a Master's of Science degree in Instructional Technologies Management. We see the need, and there is a tremendous need out there for leaders in this field, people who can help organizations by having the vision and having the understanding of what good instruction and what quality educational technologies are. So, that's what we're after here. We want to create leaders, all kinds of different titles, every industry out there. Every industry out there, and nonprofits too. I have a client now that's a wonderful nonprofit organization that's decided to do all their training online, and just it spans the gamut. I would also tell you that there's a lot of different titles that people hire under. So if you're out there searching the ASTD job site, or you're looking on Monster or SHRM or any of the sites, you make sure you look under many different titles. What is happening here? We are global. We just had a conversation here at LaSalle. LaSalle has universities all over the world. I think there's 4 or 5 of them in Europe alone, and then there's another one in Indonesia and several in Latin America, about putting all of these online things on sort of one platform, which is truly exciting to me. But a lot of people are in the same boat. People are looking at the world much differently. We live in a virtual world. I think myself personally, it's going to get a lot more virtual. ASTD talks about instructional technology management as one of the top 25 careers for the years ahead. It's a cross-disciplinary approach. We try to give you a really good and solid foundation. LaSalle is a wonderful university. We've got great people here that will do, whatever they can to help you get done what you need to get done. I don't know why I'm getting reverb here, but LaSalle is also all about useful education, and they believe that education, you should be of service, and you should give back. So that in mind, this particular program is online. It is blended in that we do get together 3 times a year face-to-face. We also use both asynchronous and synchronous platforms, and a multitude of technologies. One of my big things is, and always has been, you don't learn this stuff by talking about it. You learn how learners learn online by being an online learner. So a lot of this is geared towards experience. If you're interested, go out to our website, lasalle.edu/ITM. Fill out the app, which is free. Take the quiz, email, call myself, call Lynette. This is the curriculum. It's out there on the website. We are looking forward to being able to offer the 600 and the 650 class um, every term pretty soon. So it's a great way for you to start. Training and learning aren't what they used to be, and boy, I can attest to that. And we're not going back. You know, I go to these meetings and I hear people talk about, well, we used to do it this way. We're not going back. Um, I believe that education over the internet is going to be huge, uh, absolutely huge. So if you're interested in any of that, give us a call. I don't like to take too much time. You know, we're here today to talk about apps and ops on the cloud. So there's my contact information. My contact information's out there on the website. Let's get on with it, folks. And talk about the reason we came. You know, something that's really, really exciting. I was just saying, you know, we were waiting for some people to come. That I heard on Sunday that there's over 100,000 apps in the iPad store. So that's a lot of apps. How do you know what's out there? You know, even at $1 a piece, you can't try them all. So how do you know what's out there? How do you know what's worth your time? How do you know what will work? And you know, probably just while we're having this conversation, somebody has uploaded another 100. You know, that's how fast this is moving. And the uh, Apple platform is not the only platform by any means. You know, it's happening just as fast for Droid, and then we've got this universal kind of movement towards the cloud, which is even more exciting to me. You know, we kind of went through a full cycle of from the web to the downloadable app back to the cloud in an incredibly short period of time. So I'd like to get started here this morning. Hopefully everybody will enjoy it. And we want a lot of participation. So Karen, Lana, anybody, you know, else who's here, hopefully we'll have a few more folks joining us. But if not, whatever, it will be archived. We want you to contribute. The whole purpose of this lunchtime learning was to have people join in and share, you know, what they know, what's going on out there on the cloud, what's going on in apps for training and learning in business and whatever, and what can we share with each other. So that being said, learning on the cloud, what are they talking about? Well, here's they. Let me introduce you to they first. Our panel, our distinguished panel today is Regina Hairholzer. Regina is the Director of Online Programs for the College of Continuing and Professional Studies at LaSalle University. She specializes in online teaching and learning, course design and development, and her role is to support faculty. She's been doing this since March 2005. She's got experience in web design and front-end web development. She's got a Bachelor of Arts in digital arts and multimedia design, and she's working on her information technology leadership master's program at LaSalle. I have had the privilege of working with Regina since I came to LaSalle, and I also know she's doing a special study on apps and learning on the cloud, which is why I am thrilled to have her with us today. Art. Art is art is funny to start with, so that's all good. Art is a writer of television commercials, corporate videos, training programs, and web-based communications. A winner of more than 45 creative awards, Art's specialty is taking complex subjects and making them easy to understand. A true gift he has, I may add. After earning his master's degree in education from the University of Pennsylvania, Art began a career in marketing communication. It took him from writing TV spots for consumer products like Tasty Cake and Alpo Pet Foods to financial communications for Vanguard, Prudential, GlaxoSmithKline, and Johnson & Johnson, and a whole host of others. I am happy to have Art as part of our program, and I'm very, very happy to have him with us today. Jessica. Jessica Morris is an instructional designer here at LaSalle, and she works with faculty and staff, providing them recommendations and support. She consults with faculty to help them meet their instructional goals, both online and blended delivery. She worked for the U.S. Agency for International Development and designed and managed distance training test preparation for K-12 teachers. She is a graduate of George Washington University and has a bachelor's in urban study from University of Pennsylvania. And I agree, Jess. It was only a matter of time till we got to Evernote here. It's one of my favorite apps, too. So I'll let you share when we get that far. All right. I'd like to get started here with the first question on our list. Who would like to talk about this one? Who wants to take the first one? Cloud computing, what's it all about? Jess, you want to start off with that?
Sure, I'll take this one on. My understanding of cloud computing is basically the end user interfaces with the product online through browsers. It's not anything that you install on your desktop computer like we're used to for our lovely Microsoft Office suite. This is something that you're accessing online while the server is being hosted elsewhere, and that's where the product is being managed. Some of the great things about cloud computing is that you can have access to all your lovely software where you want it. You don't have to worry about admin rights on your desktop computer.
Yeah, I'd just like to share with that. Cloud computing came out of IBM. It was IBM's idea, and the whole idea is that these clouds can move around and sort of be combined and put together and broken apart in different ways, with the idea that it doesn't matter specifically what server your information is on. It's more about being able to access it and combine it. Art, Regina, do you want to add anything to that? I think that's a good explanation, Jess. Anybody have any questions?
Yep. This is Regina. Yes, that was a great explanation, Jess, to get us started here today. Cloud computing actually is something that it took me a very long time to get a good understanding of cloud computing. I'm going to say it's taken me probably quite a few semesters. I've actually been very interested in it in my graduate program. So, Jess, that was an excellent explanation. Thank you.
And if you want is there an echo here?
Yeah, a little bit of one. I'm not sure how we can do that unless we turn off. If you've got webcams or whatever, because I have you all promoted, turn off the webcams. I think we might just have to live with the echo, is what I'm saying.
Okay. All I was going to add was for cloud computing, I'm still in the process of learning what differentiates it from other things. So I'm just online using different software right now. So what is cloud computing and what isn't, I'm actually going to learn a little bit about today.
Great. That's why we're here. We're here to learn. We're here to share. How's that, guys? Does that cut down on the echo? Yeah?
Yes. Actually,
okay.
If you look across from the names, if you see two orange blocks, then that means two lines are open. So whoever is speaking can be open, but the other one should shut down. So that might help.
Which means I had to take this off a lock. Okay, we'll do that. Maybe that'll be helpful. All right. So, yeah. How does it work? What makes this cloud thing different than the downloadable apps. Why is everybody so excited about this? Why is everybody going to the cloud? Regina, how about you try this one?
Sure, I'll give it a whirl. For me, Bobby was saying earlier that I was working on a project in my program. We're actually looking for a distance lab for our computing courses. And we did a lot of research. We found out what other schools have been doing. People are just starting to dabble in this, as everybody, with cloud computing, although it's a concept that's been around for a while, but people are actually putting into action now. Now, what we could do is we could build a private cloud in our own infrastructure at the university, and students could log in to that private cloud. So what we're looking at is a cloud product that doesn't have any infrastructure whatsoever on LaSalle's property, but it's actually in another location. So then we would call that a public cloud. So what you're doing actually is when you're working in the cloud, you're working somewhere else. You're not logging through your network and working on your own property or your organization's property. So what you're thinking about is you're working elsewhere. Does anybody have any questions about that I could help define that a little more?
I'd just like to add that part of the impetus to go to the cloud was the fact that the number of devices, particularly mobile devices, and the capability of mobile devices has developed so rapidly. The average person gets a new mobile device every 13 months. And a mobile device is obsolete from the time that it comes out. It's obsolete in 7 months. So if you could put the interface to whatever you were doing out on the cloud and then worry about letting the devices into where you were as opposed to trying to configure and develop for each one of these devices, it just made a tremendous amount of sense. It also made a tremendous amount of sense in terms of globalization. Now you didn't have to worry about having your servers down the road, under lock and key. As long as they were out there and they were secured, then you were fine. And we'll get to that a little bit later. Security is an issue with the cloud.
All
right.
It looks like Karen has a question.
Oh, awesome. Karen, can I promote you? You have a question?
I think I can just hold my talk button down. Is
Cool.
that sufficient?
That's good.
I was just wondering, it seems to me that it would also be beneficial for universities and companies, corporate, whatever, when training on software or having the class use software, that certain licenses could be available through the cloud and designated as appropriate for whatever courses or training needs to be done. Am I correct in that sort of thing?
Oh, you absolutely are. In fact, you couldn't have given me a better intro, Karen. I'll take you to lunch later. The example that I just put up there, Fast Forward. Fast Forward is a program that was developed originally to help stroke victims recover language skill. And it has evolved to help learning disabled children and then disadvantaged children increase their reading level. And what it is it is a series of exercises that is extremely effective in being able to take someone from a second or third grade reading level to an 8th or 9th, 10th grade reading level really quickly, like 6 months in some cases. So you can imagine the strength of putting that kind of an application out on the cloud and then allowing school teachers to use that in terms of remediating reading deficiency. All right, so I'm going to call on Art next because Art is great at collaboration, and what all of this is about is the ability to collaborate and have access to other people, places, and things. Art, you want to take that one on a little bit?
Sure. What I'm finding is that basically in my business, you have to work with a lot of people at one time, sort of all working off a similar reference. So one of the things that, one of the programs I've worked with is a very simple one called join.me. I'll just write it down here. And what I found is that it's really simple in that all you have to do is tell somebody else to go to join.me. They can download either they download the software so that they can share their screen, or they simply just put in a 9-code number which you have, and suddenly they can see your screen. And what happens then is in a matter of about 15 seconds, you can have as many people as you want all looking at the same screen, and it's pretty simple technology in that, unlike this, you can just call in to each other, and it's kind of an automatic conference call. What I find is it's really easy for people like me who are not tech savvy in the least. And what's great is that everybody gets to see how a document is coming along, how a design is coming along, without having to wait until the end of it to send it back and forth to each other. It's actually, it's collaborative in the nature that there is one person leading it, but everyone else gets to see how their input is used. Anything else? Any questions on that? Jessica makes the comment here that it's great for helping people troubleshoot issues on their desktop. Yeah, no kidding. Basically, there's a little icon there where you hand over control of your screen to somebody else, which is great provided you don't have anything really personal that they can access. And they can really take over your screen from there and solve a problem that way. So I think Jessica makes a great point. And my work is done here.
All right, moving along here. Temporarily, you're coming right back, Art. What I wanted to talk about is the Google Cloud, and then we're going to talk about a few of the other big clouds out there in terms of what they've got to offer. Everyone, I think, is familiar with Gmail and the Google accounts, but probably Google Docs is one of the most famous and first and all that good stuff, cloud apps. They offer a word processing, spreadsheets, and presentations. And one of the great things about this is you can give people different user categories so that some people can edit, some people can just observe, some people can, have special privileges. And the Google Cloud, as I see it, is growing every time I look out there. Now, we've all been privileged to some things that came and went. And, that's one of the things that you have to be aware of with all of this is, we are on the leading edge. So, Karen was instrumental when she was with me, and we were using the Google Wave. Well, the Wave is no longer with us. And I think we're going to see more of that. You're going to see apps that come and apps that go, and some that stay and some that don't. But certainly a good place to start looking is to look on the Google Cloud. And if you go through Chrome to, Chrome is Google's browser, to their learning section, every time I go out there, there are more and more applications available for learning. Art, Regina, Jess, would somebody like to jump in here on what Google's got?
Well, this is Regina. I'm going to talk about the Google Docs. Hands down, it's a fabulous product and a fabulous cloud product. And if you need to collaborate on a document with anyone who has a Gmail account, you can do it at the same time. You could do it so easily. It doesn't take long to learn it at all. And it really does help escalate what you're working on to the next level. You can actually share it with other people to give you their input on it. And I would like to ask a question. Has anybody used Google Docs at this point? Just click the check mark, just so we know. If you didn't, you can click the X. Okay, so we do have some users of the Google Docs, and my suggestion is to go check it out, and you have to find a partner to go into the Google Docs with and start collaborating on a document that you're working on. And I'm sure you'll find the same tasks that I have, and everything works very well. Does anybody else have anything to say about the Google Docs or another Google application?
I'd just like to add that that you can get this on most mobile devices too. So it's tablet friendly and it's phone friendly. So just to throw that out. All right. Yes. Whoever was speaking. Yeah, yeah, Joe. It can be a little flaky sometimes, and that's true with a lot of this cloud stuff. Especially if it's a new device, especially if it's a new beta version or whatever. But as I like to remind people, we are on the leading edge, so that's where we are with this stuff. Now, I'd like to talk a little bit about what the difference is between cloud-based apps and phone-based apps, and then get some input as to which one offer more opportunities and why. Jess, you want to take a stab at that?
Sure, happy to. When I was thinking about this question, a little bit, it got me thinking about, because I am a dedicated iPhone user and I love my iPhone very much. But when you start relying heavily for like an instructional purpose or used at a corporate training capacity, you start relying on one app. You start getting into the issue of platforms, and different people have different phones, and maybe an app won't work on everyone's different devices. And so when you start looking at cloud-based products that run on most mobile devices, or I'm sorry, that run on most browsers, you find that a lot of times those are more customized to have a mobile device version, so they work more or more likely to work cross-platform. And some of the really big apps, Bobby talked about Evernote before. I'll probably talk about it again. I love it very much. That's a note-taking app, and that that works on the cloud, but it also has mobile versions for Android, for phones, for the iPhone. So I think when you're looking at different apps to choose from, looking at cloud-based ones allow you broader accessibility as a whole, ones that are designed for a specific platform. So I don't know if anyone had any other thoughts about kind of picking one over the other.
Anybody have anything they want to share or add to that?
I've got a basic question here, sort of doing the representative of somebody who isn't quite up to speed with all this yet, despite my labeling as one of the key talkers here. My question is, how do you tell in advance whether something is cloud-based or some other platform?
I mean, one of my quickest kind of telltale ways to identify is it doesn't make you download software. So, if it's something you need to download via one of your mobile devices, then that is probably not cloud-based. It's something, the entire software that you're accessing just by your browser, then that's usually browser-enabled. And it's usually helpful to test on your phone first to see, what it looks like, to see if it's something that also has some sort of mobile device capability.
That's great. Thank you. Thanks.
All right, Regina, this one has your name on it. What's Yahoo up to out there on the cloud?
Bobby, I'm going to decline from this question. I'm going to ask Art or Jessica if they could pitch in for this one.
Okay. All right. Art, Jessica, anybody familiar with what Yahoo's doing out there on the cloud?
I respectfully abstain.
I guess that leaves me. I actually would also say that I looked it up when I saw, because, Bobby, you gave us the sneak peek to these questions, and I actually wasn't aware that Yahoo was up to much. I don't think they're a name that I've personally heard about, but I think you might know a little bit more about this, but I will say that other kind of major players that I've been paying attention to, other than obviously Google, which we talked about, is there's Dropbox, which I'm sure many people have heard of, which does a lot of file management, similar to what you get with Google Docs. But Dropbox has this wonderful functionality where you can actually keep it to your desktop. So it has a desktop little tool that you can save things there and it immediately syncs to the cloud. And so that sort of I see as almost our stepping stones for those of us who aren't who aren't ready to go completely to the cloud. You have Dropbox to help you kind of have some stuff on your desktop and then have some files living there on the cloud. But Bobby, maybe you'll be able to tell us a little bit more about Yahoo.
I think Yahoo is on the leading edge in terms of what it's developing out there on the cloud and what it's allowing people to use out there on the cloud. There are chat rooms, there are chat features, there are collaboration rooms. Go out there and take a look at what they're doing. It's well worth your time and effort. Where they're going with it, I'm not real sure. I'm not real sure how far Yahoo's going to go with this. But I thought it was quite exciting myself. You don't hear that much about Yahoo anymore, and when you think of Yahoo, you usually think of either the landing page or the mail, but you don't think of them in terms of putting together applications involved in machine learning and things that we're going to talk about a little bit more next week. Things like this semantic web, because part of what this cloud idea allows us to do is then go through this unbelievable amount of back-end data and analyze, how things learn, where there are deficiencies, all kinds of interesting stuff. So go out there, look at Yahoo research, and you'll get at least a flavor for the exciting kind of things that are going on. Okay, so here's a big question. Everybody's asking this question. Are Moodle, ULAT, and other free LMSs really going to go to the cloud? Anybody familiar with any LMSs that are out on the cloud now? Well, I'm sure if we looked around, we would be able to come up with something. The rumor is Moodle, which if you're not familiar with this, Moodle is a free learning management system. OLAT is a free management system that has gotten all kinds of awards in the last year. And there has been a considerable amount of talk within the last 12 months that these free LMSs would be available on the cloud. So I think this, really opens up. Open Class is headed that way, I believe. Yeah, I think this really opens up some tremendous possibilities. I'm going to let Jess jump in here and somebody else talk for a little bit. But this whole idea of the LMS on the cloud is going to change the way we look at LMSs.
Yeah, Bobby, I just kind of put it in the chat box, but I know that there's OpenClass, which is the partnership with Pearson Learning, and Google Apps, which I think is trying to kind of head in that direction, and I know they're piloting some programs now. And I also just think it's very interesting to think about kind of learning, LMS learning in the cloud. I do think it's going to be interesting to see what people come up with in terms of keeping it secure and having everyone feel confident about students' confidential data or, participants' confidential data at the same time as allowing us to integrate all of and kind of capitalize on all the wonderful free tools that are out there on the cloud that, really could and do have the potential to benefit learners.
Hi, this is Regina. I just wanted to say what I do know about the learning management systems is they're partnering with Amazon Web Services. So what they're doing is they're moving all of their data and all of their processing to the cloud. Where Amazon's data centers are, that's where all of the information will be and all the processing will be taking place. And for the user, it will be seamless. They won't even realize that they're going to be using information or having their information processed or pulling information from a data center that is that could be located virtually anywhere. It could be it doesn't even have to be located in our United States here.
All right, now on to the fun stuff, folks. What are your favorite cloud apps? Jess, you want to start? You've got some good ones.
Sure, I love talking about apps. So in thinking about my top 5, I started thinking about my favorite top 5 in terms of teaching and learning. So maybe I'll give, Bobby, if it's okay, maybe I'll give a couple, maybe I'll give 2, and then see what everyone else has got going on. Does that sound okay to you?
Sounds great
to
me.
Great. So one of my favorites is Screener. And after I'm done speaking, I'll put the links in the chat window. But Screener is basically a free tool that allows you to capture, I think it's about 5 minutes of your screen. So if you need to do a short tutorial, and in fact, it makes you do a short tutorial, which is an advantage, I think, that if you need to teach someone something, just a quick thought occurs to you that you want to share it or broadcast it, it'll record your voice and whatever you're doing on your screen and it'll generate a link that you can share with others. So I think it's a fabulous tool for on-the-fly learning needs. And then one of my favorite cloud apps that I couldn't live without is Diigo, D-I-I-G-O. I'm not sure if I'm saying it right. That's how I've always said it in my head. And it's a bookmarking tool. So whenever I'm exploring something on the web, I just one click in my browser window allows me to record that link that I like or that resource that I found. I can highlight things to capture specific sections of a text that I'm interested in, and allows me to record everything that I'm seeing and organize it as I'm navigating in my daily life. So all those links that I find that I love or tools that I love or the things we're talking about here today as I'm exploring the different suggestions from all of you, as soon as I find a web page I like, I'm capturing that with Diigo. So I would definitely urge all of you to kind of check out these tools and see if there are things that could be useful to you.
Okay, who would like to go next? Art, you want to share some cloud apps?
Sure. One of the ones that I really enjoy using is called SlideRocket. It's basically, it takes everything that PowerPoint does and puts it up online where you can manipulate you can put together any type of presentation you want. It's got really good animation to it. You can add music, you can add voiceover. But maybe the best thing is it comes with a full set of analytics as well. So you can also see how many people watched your presentation. It can take in comments, and you can see how people reacted to it. So I found, and one of the great things about it is you just send the link to anybody who you want to see it, and immediately all they have to do is hit one button, one link, and they're watching your presentation. So I find it's called SlideRocket.com. There's another one kind of like it, which I haven't used. I think it's called Prezi or something like that, another type of presentation software. So I find that's been really kind of powerful, actually. And you can learn it in about the time it takes to learn. If you know PowerPoint, you can learn it in about three tries. So that's one I definitely recommend. And the other one, I'm not even sure if it's a cloud program or not, but it's called Dragon Dictate. And basically, it just once it learns your voice, it just takes anything you say and turns it into a document, which I just find is really, really easy when you know what you want to talk about, but it's a little harder to get it down. But it's not a collaborative thing. Slide Rocket is very collaborative, and I highly recommend it.
Regina, do you have any you'd like to share?
Yes, I do. Okay, so now I can talk about what we use for e-learning in the cloud. I know I was touching on a little bit of infrastructure before, mainly because that's what my project is on. But now let's talk about the apps. I have a bunch of them that I like. Art just talked about Zoho. I've used that a lot. That is great, great, great for collaborating with somebody else. Or even just having a place to store all of your presentations. I highly suggest using Zoho. And then we talked earlier about Dropbox. Oh my goodness, I love Dropbox. I put everything on Dropbox. I send it over there. I can access it because I have a laptop, I have a Mac, I have an iPad, I have an iPhone, I have a PC. I have all these machines that I use to get straight into Dropbox. I know my document is there. I'm not really putting any trade secrets over there, so I feel completely safe with putting my information on Dropbox. Google Docs, I talked about that earlier, and I know that a few people did say that it was rather quirky. It is quirky, but to me, it's worth it because I just have to do some reformatting. And so I would say give the Google Docs a whirl. Now here's another one for e-learning that I've seen professors use. It's called VoiceThread, and it is free. You can also purchase a subscription for some bigger storage. And what happens here, I can hear some echoing here. What happens with VoiceThread is you would invite your students to VoiceThread where you would have a presentation or a document. I know one person I'm thinking of off the top of my head, she uses a presentation. And then as each student enters into that area on VoiceThread in the cloud, they view the presentation and then they have to talk about what they just learned from the presentation. Perhaps the professor would pick out a couple specific areas for them to actually address. And then what you also do is you pick an icon. So you have a student going to the cloud to view a presentation who actually picks an icon to represent themselves. And then they actually talk. They have to have a microphone. They talk into the microphone, and then it uploads their voice, their audio. So now when another student goes in, then they hear what that student had to say. And then they add what they want to say, and then so on and so on. So we have 10 students. So everybody is talking, not at the same time, naturally. It's asynchronous. You can go in it whenever you want. The professor will give a deadline, and then students are learning from each other. And then the professor will finally go in and figure out what the students were able to give back as for the learning process. And that is called VoiceThread. I don't know if anybody's heard about it yet. No? Okay. Can I talk about a couple other, Bobby? Do I have enough time?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Jing, that's been around for a while, and I find that very successful, Jing. And what that is it will take a screenshot, and then you can write some directions on there. You can actually add voice to it. So that's pretty. You can do a couple different tasks in there. But if you just want to do a screenshot of something that you're looking at and you want to share it with somebody via email, it's a good way to get your thought across. A picture says 1,000 words. Another product that I've used for image editing. Not everybody has Photoshop on their computer, and I know the operating systems do come with a rudimentary rudimentary imaging program. But Aviary, AVIARY.com, is in the cloud. And you can go to Aviary. You can upload your image. You can do a bunch of different types of editing to it. Get the image suitable for what you need it for, and then download it and use it in one of your courses, or use it to share with somebody via email. And according to what you said, Art, about drag and dictate, I just downloaded that, and it does take a little time to train it with your voice, but I'm getting there. I love the app. So that was a whole bunch of different apps that I can give you the web addresses on that I use in the e-learning business. So I hope you at least find one. Oh, and personally, I'm going to add this one just for the sake of it, is MyFitnessPal. I don't know if people are using that yet, but it's a calorie tracker. You go in it every day and you write what you ate for breakfast, lunch, dinner, snack, and it does all the calorie counting for you. And you can actually collaborate with other members. For instance, one of my colleagues, Liz, she also she has MyFitnessPal, an app in the cloud, and we can actually communicate with each other about our calorie counting escapade. So there you have it. And I'll get this information to you in one way or another.
Just type the URLs if you can, Regina, in the chat, and then Margaret's going to pull this all together, and we will put it out there in a PDF. Okay, how about free apps in the cloud? And folks, this is, anybody who is also, here just joining us, feel free to share too. You can certainly type in the chat or raise your hand and chime in here also. The idea here was to gather some information that we could all share and, everybody could contribute. So what are some of your favorite free apps out there in the cloud? Anybody have any of those they'd like to share?
Bobby, you had mentioned in the chat, but I'll chime in here because I
actually
as well. So Remember the Milk, and this is. I was just going to say, Remember the Milk is a great productivity list-making tool. So if you're someone who has a lot of different things in your mind or tasks to take care of in a day, it allows you to create different types of lists. You can have one for work and one for things that you need to buy for your house. And so it's much more for productivity, less for learning. But I find it a fantastic tool to just stay on top with all the stuff that I have to do. So that's just rememberthemilk.com.
Yeah, that's because my lists have lists, Jessica. I don't know how I'd live without Remember the Milk. How about anybody else? Anybody else like to share something that's free? I can tell you that the Zoho suite is, if you haven't discovered that yet, and you're in business or consulting or whatever, it's fabulous. I put everything out there. My books, my databases. It's really it's awesome.
Bobby, you have a question regarding Zoho. Sharon asked if, when would you use Zoho over Dropbox, and are there benefits of one over the other?
I use them both. Dropbox is a whole different thing than Zoho. Zoho has as a component of it an application that functions sort of like Dropbox, where you can rent space and upload and download things and do backups. But Zoho is so much more. I mean, it's got a complete accounting software, CRM management, which is customer relationship management, different kinds of databases. I mean, a ton of stuff. Just it's one of those things that no small business should be without. So it's much more than just Dropbox. And I use both. I use Dropbox to put stuff up there. I also, we might want to just run real quickly through online backup while we're here. I don't use Dropbox to do my full online backup. I use my PCbackup.com, basically because I want something that is bigger and cheaper and runs regularly, and I don't have to worry about it. So, you might want to share some, if anybody has some other backup, because cloud backup has become very popular, and all of us that have lost hard disks after hard disk after hard disk, feel really good about, oh, okay, so if this hard disk goes, I'll still have all those pictures, and it also does it for you automatically. So, we all say, I've been in the IT business for 30 years, and we all say, oh, I know I should back up. I was just talking to Peg McCooey, who's been there as long as I am, and she was like, yeah, I love this cloud backup because I don't have to remember to back it up. Now it backs itself up. So that's just another area of apps out there on the cloud.
I've got a question, which is when you're looking, and it sort of sounds like today we're finding out all about all these cool apps and where we might be able to use them. Do you find that you have a use and then you look for something, look for a cloud app, or do you find that you find out about a cloud app and then you try it? I mean, is it something that fulfills a need, or is it something that creates a need?
I think that's a great question, Art, and I think it comes both ways, and I think that's part of where we are on the leading edge here. I found Zoho simply because I wanted to put everything out there where I could access it from anywhere in the world, no matter what device I was on. I wanted it in one place. I went to a conversation down at in Philadelphia. I was on a panel for technical innovation, and I sat next to a gentleman. They had a small graphic design firm, 5 of them, and they had taken all their project management, all of their accounting, all of their people management, and they put it on the cloud. And he just couldn't rave enough about how easy this was and how it had simplified his life. So when I heard that, I had been making excuses, as we all have a tendency to do. Oh, I have this in Access. I don't want to have to. So I finally just said, Bobby, enough with the excuses. Let's move it to the cloud, and let's go find something out there on the cloud that will do what I want it to do. So I think it happens that way. I also think people are curious. Someone comes to something like this and hears MyFitnessPal, and then goes out there and tries it and says, does this meet my need? Anybody else want to chime in on that?
Yeah, I think that's really the core question here is what do you do with all this stuff once you've found it? And I think what I would encourage people to do is as you're learning about these tools, and obviously you're going to leave here today with a lot of them, I think it's really important then you get used to it, you play with it a little bit, and then you store it in the back of your brain. And I think as projects come up, as you have a need to either a learning need, so you need to teach someone something, or you need to use it for a training purpose, or just you have a productivity need or problem in your life, I think these things show, oh, wait, there was that great tool I played with. That really solves a big need for me. I think it's dangerous sometimes when we find something awesome and really cool looking and we try to force it into a need that maybe it isn't the right tool for the job, just because it's cool and we want to play with it. I think it's helpful, though, to kind of absorb as many of these kind of tools that are out there and really add them to your arsenal and use a great tool like Vigo to come back to again and again when you have a need.
This is Regina. I have something to add to that.
Okay.
We had and I've been in the same position too. Okay, what app should I use here? And is it worth downloading it and what have you? So we're all in the same boat with having all these cloud apps that we're faced with. But I was talking to, actually I was at a presentation. We had somebody from Apple here at university, and he was showing all these wonderful apps. They could do this, they could do that, and what have you. And so when he had questions, when he asked for questions, I did say to him, like, I really don't have time to be going to the App Store and trying to find apps and test them out and what have you. So I hear about an app from somebody else, and I sit in a seat that I talk to professors who are teaching all the time, so I do hear about a lot of them. But for search apps out, he said it would be a good idea to go to your professional organization website and then see what they're talking about there and download those and start using them. So that's just another tip that I thought I would add, that you can look for apps through your professional organizations and see what everybody's using there.
All right. We only have about 4 minutes here, so I sort of want to wind this down, wind it up, however you want to say it here. What do you want to make people aware of about learning on the cloud? Jess, you want to chime in there?
Yeah, sure. Actually, the one thing I would like to make people aware of, and this is coming from Sharon's point, which I think is a great one, you don't want your stuff scattered all over the place and, picking through all these different tools. And I think what I would recommend is the need to be nimble. A lot of these cloud apps, they may come and go. So they're done by startup companies or developers, and then, for whatever reason, they can't be maintained. And I don't think that's to scare people off. I think it's just a good idea to, if you're really hooked on something and you love the functionality, find something else that does something sort of similar, because there likely is something out there that does something similar. So you have a lot of tools that if something were to go away, you have a backup plan, especially if it's something that you come to really love and value and has a core purpose in your life. So I think that's something I would encourage people to do, is kind of keep a lot of these tools in their tool belt, because these things can come and go, but that doesn't mean that there's not something better or just as good out there.
I think that's a great point. I think that's absolutely a great point. Stay nimble. I like that. All right, our last and final question here, and then we'll open it up, is how long do you think it will take for us to move to the cloud? Regina, you want to take a stab at that one?
That's a tough question, and I'm going to try to answer that as quick as I can. I know I have been in web development and e-learning for 10 years, and it took me a while to start using the cloud applications. I was a little nervous about using them, but once I found a few that I really liked, I continue to use them, and when I hear other people are using apps and they love them, well, it just supports using apps more and more. So I'm going to say from today, with everyone who is present, you're probably going to go and try about 5 different apps that we suggested today. So it's not going to take you long. You're going to be moving to the cloud either today or tomorrow. So I think we're there, Bobby. I really think we're there.
Art, you want to chime in here?
Yeah, my opinion is that I think everything could move to the cloud relatively quickly, provided you can get over that little sense of insecurity that you're not going to be able to reach it. To me, it's kind of like going from having a passbook account, I am now dating myself, to having something, doing online banking. I think once you realize you don't have to have everything on your computer stored and at the ready no matter what, then you're going to be a lot quicker moving to the cloud. But I think a lot of it just comes down to the idea of, will I always be able to connect to it? Can I feel secure that it'll be there, even if, I'm still a little worried about out of reach before I put everything up on Dropbox.
Oh, no, I think you hit the nail right on the head. I think that's huge. Even putting backing my family pictures up on the cloud, let alone putting my accounting stuff and my database and stuff. There was always this little thing that was just kind of like that little insecurity, and it's psychological. It's purely psychological. What if I can't get out there? Or what if it goes away? Yeah, exactly. Jess, you want to wind up with this one, and then we'll open it up for questions.
Sure. The one thought that does occur to me, and it's a different type of security, it's kind of data security kind of concerns. And I just think, for those of us who may deal with more sensitive types of data, thinking specifically like student records and grading material, or just other things, I think I sort of think that that's another thing that people keep in the back of their minds in terms of hesitancy about putting stuff in the cloud. And for me, I think that's why I think some sort of file system isn't going to go away completely. I think we still need to have a place for that, secure information that we want to lock down.
All right, folks, I'd like to thank you all for coming. We like to stick around for, 5 or 10 minutes afterwards. We'll be here if you have any questions. Happy Easter, happy spring. Our final lunchtime learning will be on May the 8th, which is always the second Tuesday of the month. This will be Web 3.0 and adaptive learning. And again, we will have a panel discussion, and what we'll be talking about is what goes on in the back end of all this and what we're seeing in terms of the development of the semantic web and how the semantic web applies to training and learning, and not to mention sending you a ton of marketing emails. So, all right, thank you folks very much. We thank you for joining us, and we'll be around.